We're back. In this segment, we are going Justice League and Green Lanterns. Their technology, of course, we've discussed this quite a few times, is, well, for the Justice League, where do we start? We've got Cyborg. We have the 2 Green Lanterns, which operate their willpower rings. We have Batman with his gadgets and, on occasion, even his Wayne Tower power-ups. And we have, and then the next issue, Green Lanterns, which the Guardian makes a rogue ring that should not have been made.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. So like I say, technology is great, except when it isn't, and we see a little bit of the technology working for them this time. Justice League number 6, State of Fear, Part 1. Josh, what can you tell me about Justice League number 6?
Well, it's another story arc and another alien invasion.
Again, we just got done with one.
Well, hey, isn't that basically what the Justice League does? Fight aliens? They don't seem to fight anything domestic anymore.
At least not yet.
Yeah. But this time they're being attacked by emotion manipulating alien worm leech nasty black things that basically infect the entire Justice League with fear.
Yeah, that was kind of weird to see, that moment of Batman feeling fear, Flash, all of them feeling that emotion.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that the 2 Green Lanterns, Jessica and Simon, they're the ones who really saved the Justice League at that point.
Right.
Because their entire job is to fight fear.
Yes.
And so they managed to eliminate the worm leech alien things, and the day seems to be saved, at least at the beginning.
Right.
By the end of this issue, Jessica's reverted to having a panic attack.
Big time.
The Flash is really acting like a jerk. I mean, he's really not being a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Batman seems kind of overly somber, even for Batman, sort of even missing Dick Grayson.
Yep.
And Superman wants to kill Batman.
Yeah, very weird.
Yeah, over dinner.
Yes. He didn't even want to finish his meal. He was hungry, and then he wasn't hungry. He lost his appetite.
Mm-hmm.
But all joking aside, so I imagine these alien worms, it wasn't just fear that they really played on the emotions, kind of really going to amplify maybe something that's already there, even how small
it looks like whatever effect they had on them at the beginning, it looks like the Green Lanterns maybe didn't necessarily dispel that.
Mm-hmm.
One of my thoughts was, I mean, the Green Lanterns are part of the emotional spectrum. I mean, there's the yellow lanterns, the orange lanterns, the blue lanterns. They each have an emotion directed to them.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if, how they eliminated those worms, maybe that somehow spread that effect through the emotional spectrum.
Right.
Maybe each member gets their own separate emotion. So, we'll see.
Right. The coolest part of the story, to me, and I think you would agree, was seeing Jessica Cruz and Barry Allen going out on a date and just kind of seeing the thought process with Jessica and Barry. Barry is so quick that before we find out that the emotions are being manipulated or going haywire, you see Jessica unsure of herself, so she's trying to find the perfect outfit. Barry is so just thinking, well, I've got time to do this. And I thought it was a nice dynamic until it became the emotions took over.
Yeah, it seems very normal for both of them. You have, the very easygoing Flash he's the Flash. He can do whatever he wants. And you have Jessica Cruz, who's the anxiety-ridden Green Lantern who thinks she doesn't always even necessarily deserve to be a Green Lantern.
Right.
So it's kind of the odd couple off the bat. It is also really funny to see what they do. I mean, Jessica's trying on outfits. She decides at one point, I need to go floss my teeth again.
Yep.
Barry's running there. He stops, 2 armed robberies, missing persons case.
Yes.
Does all
Takes a shower. He said a great long minute shower was great.
Yeah, nice long shower, yeah. Changes his clothes 3 times at least?
I think 2 or 3.
Then comes back with flowers, which of course get annihilated because of his running.
Right.
It's a funny a funny combination. And then, of course, when they go to sit down, Barry orders so much food.
How can he afford so much food?
I don't know. He never seems to do his day job.
No, he doesn't.
I'm not even sure Jessica has a day job.
Maybe he has a Justice League issued card,
Yeah.
and that's an expense that they deduct at the end of the year.
Maybe Bruce Wayne gives them all an allowance. He seems to have enough money to do everything else.
That was interesting when he ordered. It kind of reminded me of the old episode of Justice League where they had Wally West of where are we at? Oh, we got $8. You got to take him to a buffet. Isn't that kind of mean? He needs the energy. And I'm going to take an order of bread. I'm going to take rigatoni, da-da-da-da, and then need another order of bread, too.
Yeah.
I'm on a calorie-controlled diet.
Yeah. Well, and it is funny because, I mean, it does also bring back to the science that if he's running that fast, he needs calories to burn.
Yes.
And that's, I think, more associated with Wally West as the Flash, really. But, it's a funny little fact to throw back in. And it makes sense on a date, too.
It does. But do you think that maybe, we didn't see him too much, but we see Cyborg and Simon Baz, they're kind of bonding. Really, it's kind of Cyborg forcing Simon, you're coming with me, we're going to play some football. I don't know if maybe the emotional spectrum, what's been influenced, I don't know if he's going to be okay with Jessica going on a date. And maybe that might be their story arc, is he might get pushed over, and that might be the emotional part in the Justice League.
Yeah. It seems like if they are doing emotions, he might end up being greed or envy with that. Because when I was reading, as we've been reading Green Lanterns, especially as they've had more of the family story arc, where, he's invited Jessica over to his house, she's met his mom, she's met his sister and brother-in-law, I kind of got this sense that they might end up being an item at some point. I mean, they're very different personalities, but you can see they're starting to they're starting to mesh. So, I mean, it makes me wonder if it's legit envy or if this is the alien effect. But we'll see what happens. It was surprising that she would go with the Flash rather than Simon, but Simon has been kind of a jerk to her for most of their careers at this point.
So right now, this is the start of a new story arc with Justice League. We're seeing that whatever infected them at the very beginning of the issue is still lingering. Will it bring out some infighting? Because the next issue was saying Superman versus Batman. We'll see what happens. It's a lot of the good human elements of the story, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more. Green Lanterns number 8, Family Matters Part 2, All Hallows Eve. Green Lanterns number 8. I like this issue in terms of we see a lot of the kids dressed up in their Halloween costumes. We see Jessica and Simon as Green Lanterns. That'd be kind of cool. You didn't really need a costume. I'm just going to go in my work clothes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be there. We really see the Dominators trying to track down this Phantom Ring. And I guess Rami at the Green Lanterns Rebirth number 1, or Green Lanterns number 1, he had blown up the ship of Dominators in him. So these two are going to try to track down this Phantom Ring. Well, when the Green Lanterns find out that their Rami has ran, where are we going to go? We're going to go to the highest tower. We're going to go to this lookout. And we get a little bit more backstory about Rami this time in this issue, why he created the Phantom Ring, and tell us a little bit why.
Yeah, so Rami is a member of the Guardians of the Universe. Obviously, he's one of the blue-skinned guys who are essentially the bosses of the Green Lanterns. He creates this ring, which is the Phantom Ring, which supposedly anyone can use. You can just pick it up and use it. It doesn't need to choose you. It doesn't need to find a successor. And for doing that, he's kicked out of the Guardians. He has to leave until he can either contain the ring or he can destroy it. And he's mentioned in this issue he's tried to destroy it in numerous ways. He's tried black holes, he's tried zeta beams, which we just did Death of Hawkman. He's tried kryptonite, he tried all these things. He can't destroy it, so he's stuck with the thing and he can't go back. But this is apparently a tremendously powerful weapon.
It is.
I mean, that anyone can use. And it's interesting, too, because at the end of this issue, we see a guy on his way to Dearborn. What looks like a totally normal guy in a van. I mean, not normal because he has a backpack and a rifle back there.
Yeah,
but he's
semi-automatic.
he's a very very human-looking guy, and he's on his way to Dearborn, dead set on getting the Phantom Ring.
How would he know about it?
I don't know. He seems to know. He knows there are 2 Green Lanterns in Dearborn because of news reports.
Yep.
Maybe the Phantom Ring was in the news. I can't believe that would be publicized. But he also says that he's deserved a power ring for his entire life. Which makes me wonder, is this somebody we know? I mean, could this be some former Green Lantern? Could it be another old Green Lantern villain? I don't know.
Right.
That's weird. I mean, that's weirder than aliens showing up in Dearborn trying to track down a blue-skinned dude with a ring.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
We see a little bit more of Jessica Cruz being able, when Rami was talking about he wanted more experienced lanterns, he was looking for Hal Jordan to guard him. And they're saying, well, we tried Hal Jordan, he's not available. But you can't even create a construct. And it's kind of true, but she does create a construct when it mattered the most and takes out the Dominators.
Yeah.
So we're seeing Jessica, she just kind of, her willpower spiking when she hits that level, and then it's off the charts. I'm kind of thinking that she can't hit that mark, but when she does, she just goes over the mark.
Yeah, almost like she's overcompensating. I mean, we know she has to compensate for her anxiety. So maybe there's a tie to that. It is funny that when she makes that construct, Simon kind of thinks, oh, geez, she's overdoing it.
Exactly.
She's really overdoing it. It seems like that would tax her batteries or her ring's power levels. Because they have power levels to deal with. But I mean, maybe that's just kind of her thing. Maybe the willpower spiking supercharges the battery. I don't know. It makes it feel like that's going to kind of be her shtick as a Green Lantern.
Yep.
Same way that Simon has the Emerald Sight that we haven't seen for a couple issues at this point, but it makes it seem like that's kind of to make them separate. Too.
What was your feeling as you read this issue? I'll go to you. What do you feel as you're reading Green Lanterns this issue?
This was cool. This was one of my favorite issues of Green Lantern so far because there's the juxtaposition of there's the interplanetary police trying to track down a guy who's basically created a super weapon, juxtaposed with Halloween in Dearborn, Michigan.
Yep.
that's kind of precious to me. I mean, it gives them, it helps to humanize the Green Lanterns, and it makes for some interesting interactions when you have aliens running around Dearborn, especially the 2 Dominators, who weren't exactly the most brilliant Dominators in the universe.
Right, exactly.
I mean, they weren't particularly smart.
Yep. I agree with that. It was a fun issue. The backdrop of Halloween, we're a little bit late, of course, but just seeing those kids and then the kids watching as the Lanterns argue with Rami and then taking out the Dominators, I thought was kind of cool. They were watching like they shouldn't be watching. They were in something that was greater than they knew. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it's also kind of hilarious that Simon's nephew ends up dressing up as the Flash.
Yes.
Well, I mean, which is sort of a funny combination with that and Justice League.
Yep.
Where
true.
Jessica goes on a date with him and Simon says, "Oh, that's the gaudiest costume of any superhero," and Jessica says, "No, that's the coolest costume of any superhero."
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that took place before or after the break.
Yeah, that's. Who knows?
Well, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, we'll discuss Cyborg number 2 and Superman number 8. We'll be back in just a moment.